In the inn, Sanguine River Inn. We got some potions too. We met this Thornbeard guy, and we asked him about the bounty for the Night Giles. He said that circumstances changed, and he says there's still a bounty on Giles, though. But before he'll tell us about it, he sent us on like a side quest that there's these bandits roughing up these farmers out in the kind of wilderness nearby, I think. It was 75 gold each if we killed the bandits.
Groovy bud incoming.
We snuck out. The Summerblood kind of approached us, but she seemed cool, really. I mean, she was kind of a dick, but she didn't mess with us. She had some amulet. And they told us...
This is not fantasy music.
What the hell? You got some merry-go? Like, I'll change to a bedtime story voice.
No, please don't.
And then the adventurers went through the woods. But yeah, we got there. We talked with some lady. No, Zuria, who she met. She was a Summerblood we met with red glowy eyes. She was creepy. Told us not to play outside. Yeah, we came to the Sallows, I think it was called. It's kind of like the slums zone. We also learned that there's like a resistance that Thornbeard is running. He didn't tell us about. And the Chancellor is rebelling against the king, I think. And then, yeah, we met, there's some angry clan nearby, the Red Hands. And we heard they were in some barn nearby, and we went in the barn. They were like roughing up a man for money. We bust in there, and I think we killed them all. And I think that's where we ended.
So here you stand, amid the carnage of fresh combat. And just out of curiosity, because I can tell from a couple HP bars that people got pretty fucked up in that fight. How are you feeling after that combat?
I feel good. I mean, I'm like a like a retribution paladin or whatever. So redemption. So I kind of, I remember I like offered that these guys should back down or whatever, and they did. And so we killed the shit out of them. And yes, this makes me and my god very happy. I don't know who my god is offhand though. Tread.
So you gave him that. A couple of you are pretty wounded. How much combat has your character seen before getting to Redchapel, would you say?
I mean, not a lot, really. The occasional smacking of heads back at the temple. Sometimes you'd get people around you outside, but it's not really a soldier's birthday.
I always want to be one.
I mean, it's not I say I'm not capable there, bro. I was just saying that I'm not necessarily like a hardened veteran.
What about Sumo? Sumo looks like he's seen a few fights.
Actually not many. Because Sumo was a traveling circus performer. So, yeah, not much in the fighting.
Okay. Certainly a capable combatant, if not practiced. So how does he feel about having just killed a few people?
Not good, because those could have been potential fans to Sumo's great prowess.
Yes, everyone gets a hero point at the start of the session. And for reference, hero points, rules regarding hero points can be found.
Yeah, it's one reroll or all your points to recover when near death.
Take the second reroll.
Well, I think you can only have one, right?
You get until you roll it, and you have to take that second roll with the hero point. It's not like advantage per se in 5e.
The GM is in charge of awarding hero points. Usually each character gets 1 hero point at the start of a session and can gain more later by performing heroic deeds, something selfless, daring, or beyond normal expectations. For those of you in the party who are not necessarily on the good side of the spectrum, this also includes things that sort of fit into your alignment or good roleplay moments, or even just especially cool things during combat. I do want to state, especially for Lawrence and really everybody, when it comes to roleplay and awarding hero points and awarding inspiration in 5e and stuff like that, I don't expect you to have to do a bunch of silly voices and go out of your way to make make a fool of yourself to get hero points. Just sticking to character and as best you can describing things that your character might do, all that's sufficient for getting into the role play. I think you can go as far with it or as little as with it as you want.
How dare you say that about our silly voices?
I love your silly voices, I really do, but I also understand that not everyone wants to do silly voices.
Yeah, it's taken years of silly voices in private to get silly voices in public.
That's a really good way of putting it. Actually, 1 second. I gotta close my door. Be right back.
I could use a rest. An ale.
I don't think the cleric needs more ale right now. Remember, we just sobered him up enough to drag his ass over here to fight.
Oh yeah.
No, I swear I'm alright. Look. Stick out my hand that's just shaking violently. I'm alright. I can go a whole other round.
As you're standing there, the farmer who escaped after being badly wounded himself is coming back up the road with a guardsman, approaching the barn here. The guardsman sort of approaches with a halberd in hand. I'm sorry, not halberd. This is not a palace guard. With the club in hand, as though he's prepared to fight. And the farmer says, "No, they helped me. They were so kind." The guard gives you a sort of a wary look. Right. What happened here?
I mean, it says he's guilty, isn't it? We came upon him being violated by these ruffians. And the second we stood up to them, they attacked us. Actually, really not our fault. Well, I mean, I look back at the pile of corpses. Well, I guess that's our fault. But it's more theirs than anything.
They attacked you first. The guard kind of brushes past Bergrim and Orston to get into the barn, where he uses a foot to push over one of the corpses. The man is still twitching. Blood is still pooling around him. He is clearly gone. Life has left his body, but muscles are twitching in rictus as the guard inspects the corpse. I see. These are red hands, aren't they? Lawrence, if you're talking, I can't hear you.
I don't know. You have to say something.
We heard the shout.
Try again one more time.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
There we go.
Much better.
Much better. All right. So these are red hands. That complicates things, I'll be honest.
Why would that be?
It's just, there's been sort of an understanding between Redchapel and the Red Hands, as of late. And I suppose, and he sort of glances sideways at the farmer, you broke that, didn't you? Well, we didn't have anything to give them. The harvest has been poor, you know that. The land is spoiled. This is only going to attract attention that we don't want.
Attention? Says who? Who doesn't want attention? Sumo needs attention.
The guard glances at the catfolk and says, you misunderstand me. The Red Hand are not going to like this. And with the shape Redchapel is in, I'm not sure. He catches himself and sort of looks down for a second, takes a breath, and then looks back up. That's God business. You have clearly been defending yourselves. I am not going to place you under arrest. I am going to insist you leave the barn so that we may get this mess cleaned up, hopefully before anyone goes running back to Garthrum to tell him.
So are we to understand from this guy that this is not a small band of brigands, but a small amount of them?
Yes.
Okay.
This
is like a local crime boss, not the head honcho.
Yeah, this seems to be implying this guy was like maybe a mid-level captain or something, not necessarily the boss.
I'm very displeased when he says that they have an understanding with this group of what is clearly outlaws. And I'd like to step in between him and the front door and try and square myself up. You know, even though I'm a dwarf and it's difficult, I try and loom as large as I can in front of him and point my warhammer at the, I think it was the captain, the leader, that I cracked his skull halfway open with an uppercut swing. I'd say, what do you mean you're working with these bandits? The guards have an understanding? Tell me what's going on here. Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are? You're an outsider, come to Redchapel, think you're going to fix things? Think you're going to solve the problems, eh? Gonna play hero?
You'd almost argue that the local constable cooperating with a bunch of criminals is a larger problem than whatever you're about to describe to me now.
The guard gives you this sort of wry... It's like a grin, but it pulls his mouth back in a way that just lands uncomfortably between grin and grimace. And he says, you don't know what sort of problems we're dealing with. Piss off back to the inn, friend. I'll take care of this. The bodies will disappear, and we will move on. If word of this gets back to Garthrum, you're in trouble, I'm in trouble, and what's left of this city is in trouble. If I were you, and I'm not, and I thank every bloody... I'll be thanking the gods in the morning that I'm not. I would piss off in the morning. Find your way back to wherever you came from, and forget you ever came to Redchapel. Do you hear me? Do you understand?
Who's Garthrum?
The leader of the Red Hand.
And where might I avoid running into this Garthrum at?
You want to tangle with Garthrum?
No, friend, I clearly want to take your advice and avoid you.
He gives you a long look, as though he's weighing something. He looks conflicted. His expression wavers, and his shoulders droop a bit, as though this man very much wants to... he looks physically burdened by something. And when he finally sort of collects himself a moment later, he says, "The bandits make their hideout in a fort about half a day east of here. No, I'm sorry. Yes, half a day east of here, along the coast. If you want to avoid Garthrum, I would very much suggest that you don't go to that particular fort. And I would also stress to you, friend, the consequences of not avoiding Garthrum. You may think yourselves powerful, heroic adventurers. I've seen your kind. There have been plenty in the last couple of weeks. What's going to happen is you're going to die in there. And then when they're done killing you, Garthrum, irritated and powerful, will crawl his way up the coast, find himself a few victims to revenge himself upon, and relieve us of what few lives we have to spare. Think before you act. Consider who you are acting for. And get out of Redchapel. Now, if you'll excuse me." And the guard stomps off into the night.
What about you then? I'll say to the farmer guy.
The farmer who is holding a badly wounded arm with his good hand, and has the hand of the wounded arm sort of clutched around his stomach where a nasty cut appears to be bleeding through his shirt, looks at you with a haggard expression and says, "Much as I'd like to take a sword to Garthrum myself, he's probably right. I certainly appreciate you stepping in, but it's not right for you to get dug in deeper, all stuck up on the problems of other people. You've done plenty. They'll handle it from here. There won't be another one of them red hands bothering us for a while. And next time they do, maybe we'll be better prepared. We'll have more food. Maybe things will be better."
Do you know anything of the arrangement between the guards and the red hands?
He sighs and looks after out into the night, and the dark pool between the light in the barn and the lanterns lighting the path of the sallows further up the way, and he says, "Arrangement's a fancy word for it. It's... if you stick to the sallows, and anybody that gets caught wandering outside the walls," says Garthrum, "if we stick to the sallows," says the guards, "if you stick to the sallows, and anybody wandering outside the walls, then we don't come after you. And you don't come in. You don't bother anyone in the city. You stay out of Summerside. You leave the docks alone. It's a mutual arrangement of pretending one doesn't see the other."
What a terrible existence, I'm so sorry. What a terrible, absolutely miserable place to live.
It wasn't always like this. Before the land spoiled, this was prosperous territory. Redchapel was the seat of the Austrian Empire, after all. My family and I, we moved here from the lowlands, and we thought we were safe. For years we were safe. But then the land blighted, crops stopped growing near the city, and as it edged ever toward famine, the bandits got desperate. And the gods got more desperate still. I can't blame them. Greater good and all that. We're just a few poor farmers. He looks at you wearily, and then looks away and says, "It's all right. I'd like to go back to my family now and try to get some rest. I'll need to see a cleric in the morning about these wounds."
If you can't find anybody to take care of you for free, come see me. We'll be at the Sanguine River Inn.
He looks at you for a long moment and says, "You mean that? If I can't find anybody in the morning, I can come see you for healing."
I shouldn't be difficult to find. I have a feeling I'll be sleeping late into the morning. You'll find me. Ask for me at the front desk.
Sure. Bergrim, was it?
Floor breaker.
Bergrim Warbreaker. I'm Lorik. Just Lorik.
It's a pleasure to meet ya, just Lorik. Go get some rest.
He gives you this weary, just tired smile at that, and a little chuckle sort of bubbles up out of his throat, and he says, "Yeah, off to bed with all of us, yeah? Y'all have done a good thing tonight, even if it's more complex than it looks. You did a good thing, and I think you should be proud of that." And
Appreciate
and he begins sort of limping off toward the lit slums beyond.
Oh, sad music works for that.
Yeah, it's nice sad music. Yeah.
So what do you do?
Isn't it like the middle of the night, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, you guys left at about 8 p.m. After all this, after how long it took you to get to the Sallows and get to the barn, I'm saying it's probably about 9:30 p.m., approaching 10. It's just about pitch dark outside. The only light left is that of the torches and lanterns along the cobbled path, and what little moonlight can reach through some pretty thick cloud cover. And it is getting chilly.
So we're like outside the main city walls, right? We don't have a place to sleep out here. Our inn was way back in the town, right?
Yes, it'll take you roughly about 30 to 45 minutes to walk back, depending on how fast you're going. I'll move you guys back to the overworld map so you can see kind of where you are.
Yeah, we're at the bottom edge of just outside the city, I believe.
Yep, you're about right here.
Yeah, I've just been hearing lots of talk about being seen outside after dark and stuff, and
I mean, we got the didn't we get the amulet? So we're covered or something, being in trouble after dark. It doesn't save us from danger, but
I think it worked once already, but they didn't seem very happy about it, right?
I mean, I don't care how they feel about it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we really don't have any other options unless we find somewhere to bunk out here.
Yeah, is it like a wooded area, or it's all like farmers' fields, I guess?
Yeah, it's pretty much all. This is open field. Much of the crop is blighted. What would have been like, wheat and peppers and all this other stuff that's been growing. Um, it's not growing right now. There's very little food in the fields, and so there's just a lot of barren soil and flatlands leading up to the edge of that valley that dips just before it sort of just near where Redchapel is next to the coast. So it's like sea, um, Redchapel, the city, um, about half mile of farmland and um, flatland, and then a valley that dips pretty low, leading inland to the south. That makes sense?
Oh yeah.
Novigrad, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So are we gonna make our way back then? Because we don't want to stay out here in the ghetto of the fucking city.
Yeah, I mean, the guy might let us sleep in his field or something if we think it's dangerous enough, but we could head back to. That could work.
It's 20 minutes. We'll make it there.
I'm worried about what were they? Red people.
Zaria?
Yeah.
Summerblood?
Yes.
Well, you know what I gotta say to the Summerblood? Winter's coming, bitch.
Yeah, I also thought King's Landing. I envisioned King's Landing. But I mean, yeah. So I feel all right. We can make it back to the city if we just hoof it back to the inn. If we just hoof it back to the inn, if we do run into any of the knights, we can just present that amulet. And if we run into anything else, we might get fucked.
Can we take a short rest? I need to get focus points back and stuff.
10-minute rest? Yes, 10-minute rest. Sit down.
Yeah.
Then we sit down in his fields.
So you're sitting down in the fields? Yeah?
Oh, that's never.
Yeah, I'd say like
Yeah.
get some distance from that place where we just killed a bunch of people.
Sure.
And then find a nice safe sheltered-ish field.
You kind of find your way under, how they've got those things out, like it's like a sort of a half shed almost, where it's a sort of the upward slope of a roof, and then a wall, and like some supports, and it's just sort of a little nook to keep tools and stuff dry in the rain. You know what I mean? You find one of those places, and it serves as a pretty good little shelter to hunker down in and sit for a moment to kind of recoup some of your composure after this brutal throwdown in the barn. From where you're sitting, you can still see that cobbled lit path through the sallows and toward the barn. Some guardsmen are hoofing it down the path. You can hear the steady the steady percussion of their bronze boots clacking and clinking against the cobbles. And even from where you're sitting, even amid the gloom, you can kind of see these grim set expressions under their helmets. Each of them is carrying a bag, a hempen large bag, and the last guard, complete with squeaky wheels, is rolling a cart. The guard you saw that came to first inspect the scene is in the lead, and you can hear him barking orders. Right! Make sure that no one sees you leaving the city. Make sure that no one knows where you bury these. If Garthrum finds these, we'll pay. There's hell to pay. You understand? The guards pass by and sort of shuffle into the barn. and one guard stands outside with the cart, waiting as they begin their work. You hear wet thuds and strange, wet thuds and splattering noises. It sounds like the guards are having to do what they can to make the men fit in the bags.
What the fuck? We're still inside of that little tool shed.
Mhm.
Door closed. But can we see
No,
out?
there's no proper door. It's like an open-ended shed.
Okay. I'm not a sneaky dwarf, so
I need a rest for 10 minutes. So can I like initiate that? And these other, I'm like meditating or something, and they can be doing this spy scene.
Sure.
I plunked the stats there. Yeah, it's the refocus action, exploration action. And yeah, it's just 10 minutes and I get focus points back. I don't think there is actually a 10-minute rest or whatever. Or is this, though?
there is not a 10-minute rest, and we are still fucked. I have 1 slot left for healing.
Yeah, you can use the, like, restore wounds medicine action or whatever, right? To heal? Something like that?
It occurs to me that I'll have to include the fact that the guards have daggers and maybe a sword or two among them, or else how would they be cutting up bodies? Can't do that with a club.
But it would just take a long time. Enough time for us to get an 8-hour rest in.
Yeah, you could totally do it.
Yeah.
Bash apart the bodies. This is getting more grim than I intended. I apologize.
Yeah, whoa.
I don't see anything. At least heal on rest. PF2E doesn't bring anything about healing on like a short
Yeah,
rest.
there's only an 8-hour thing, and then the actions. So yeah, you could look at the medicine skill actions. Is probably what you're looking for.
Treat wounds is a viable action.
Yeah,
I would
it's
recommend
medicine.
anybody that's. I would recommend anybody that's going to play party healer, take the continual healing feat.
Yeah, there's a million feats that make it better. Yeah, treat wounds, spend 10 minutes, and you have to have a healer's tools. And then, yeah, after you spend 10 minutes, they're immune for an hour. So, and then it's usually 15 DC. There's the link if anybody wants to read it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I guess I need to buy healer's tools. I don't think I started with any healer's tools. I just went with whatever was in TF build 2E builder. I don't remember seeing those.
Yeah, it doesn't give you any items by default. I spent all my gold, so on like armor.
While we're here, I want to drink a health potion.
Go for it. I believe the healing potions. Oh,
1d8.
also, roll 20 added drag and drop items.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
So you should be able to drag stuff out of the compendium. And if you can't get to the compendium, let me know and I'll share my content for this campaign.
No results found.
Okay. Can you get to any items in the compendium?
I can see things, but when I click them, there's no results in any of the categories.
Okay. When I get a chance, I'll go in and fix that in the setting. And
Yeah,
I have to exit the game to do that, but
Oof.
I'm genuinely upset.
Jazz, is that a homebrew in this or not?
oh hell yeah, no, we're homebrewing that. Reroll that shit.
I'll put it on the large part of the notes that says homebrew.
There you go. Heal for 5.
Thanks, Chesley.
Sneak away 35 feet so I can heal the rest of us in 1 emanation.
Yo, when we leveled up, I know our max HP increase. Is our current HP increase the same increment?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
I have no idea what my increment was.
Same here. I don't know.
It's tricky.
For me on my character sheet, if you just switch it back to level 1, it took mine back down to where it was when I started. Yeah.
22 to 34, so I got 12. I'm putting it on the homebrew page. What was it? When you level up, you get whatever extra HP you got as max and current.
Yeah. Yeah, your max HP increase also goes towards your current. Because I was at like 4 HP.
That's a cool homebrew thing.
What were you gonna say about him sneaking away and me killing him?
He doesn't have to sneak. The guards are not, it's not like the guards are on the hunt for you.
Okay, go stand over there, please. And we heal it. 28 plus spellcaster mod. Now it just says you restore 1d8. That
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's why I was disappointed from the cleric I played.
I heal 7.
It's funny to think we're all on the tool shed, like drinking potions after just murdering a bunch of bandits.
Yeah, just hanging out. I'm definitely good to go back now. Like, I'm at 24 HP.
This isn't how I thought a mission for the church would go.
Yeah,
Alright.
my health was good too.
Yep, I'm ready.
But we're killing
minutes past.
we're killing bad people, so it's good.
I agree with the cut.
Yes, just keep
Yeah, I
thinking
do
of that
agree, I agree.
75 gold.
You move through the sallows. Most everybody has gone inside. The
We're
old
getting
woman.
Fuck up
Go-
those. I'm sorry, I thought we were getting ready to go fuck up those people with the bodies. Is that not what we were getting ready to do?
Is that what you're doing?
No, I thought we were going back to the inn.
No, okay,
Yeah.
we're going back to the. Okay, we can
Yes,
go.
so the guard guy said that he was going to have his guards like take care of it, right? Like hide
Oh,
all
I'm
the
sorry.
bodies. So
Yeah,
that's
I'm
what was
sorry.
going on there for sure.
I'm sorry, I missed. I thought we had like moved further past that, and when we had taken up refuge in a tool shed, we had seen like fucking like bandits unloading bodies. I'm sorry, I missed that somehow. Yeah, back to the end.
So, what it sounds like is happening is that the guards are getting rid of the bodies before somebody goes running and tells Garthrum that a bunch of his men are dead.
Yeah, I follow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I completely missed something before that. I thought we were way in a different part of the Sallows now.
No, you're good. So you are now moving through that lit cobbled path through the Sallows. There's very few people outside at this time of night. Next to a torch, kind of lighting the door of this small shack-like house, is the old woman that spoke to you before, who informed you of the resistance and the rebellion. She spots you as you walk past, and she says, "Did you get him?"
Not totally.
Good. They deserved it.
She's been useful to us in the past. So, I'd like to hold up for a second and ask her, Miss, we learned some very disturbing information from one of your guardsmen. That they had some kind of arrangement or otherwise with these Red Hand bandits. We've not gotten much specifics out of anybody yet. Could you tell me anything? Could you tell me why, at least, the guards have some sort of understanding with these brigands?
She gives you sort of a wary look before she looks around as though she's checking to see if anyone can hear her, and then she says, "It's the summer blood. Nobody wants to believe it. Nobody believes me when I tell them, but the summer blood are working with those bandits. You go to the docks tomorrow. You go check out with the warehouses. I've seen them. They've been dragging people in there. I've seen them. They dragged my... They dragged..." She stares at you as the words start to tumble and sort of stutter. And then she looks away and she says, "Just go look at the warehouses. I've seen them. Warehouses, the docks. I've seen them. Dragging people out of their houses. I've seen them."
Which docks do we need to investigate, lady?
The docks. It's on the map, you see there.
I mean, but I'm sorry, which warehouse?
I'm just messing with you.
She looks strange now. Her skin is, well, sallow. She's looking at you, but she's not looking at you. She's looking at the middle distance between you, and she sort of leans back in her chair and says, I'm sorry, Who are you?
We're the group of travelers you met before. You told us about.
I don't remember any travelers. It's late. I need to be getting inside.
Can I understand what just happened to her? Can I, maybe before she turns and goes back into her house, can I, maybe grab her by the wrist for a second and just try and get a close-up look at her face? Judge, her complexion, maybe get an idea of her pulse. What's happening to her physically?
Roll me either perception or medicine, whichever you prefer.
It's a +8. For fuck's sake.
It looks as though, blood flow has been interrupted somewhere. You reach out and amid feeble protesting from the old woman, you sort of check her wrist and check to see for a pulse, see how her heartbeat is. Healer things, standard medicine. But the pulse is very fast and vibrates against your thumb. Far too strong for a normal person. It's like her heart is thundering. And where you pull your thumb away from her wrist, you can see light bruising already beginning to form under the pale, really yellowing skin.
So when I try and figure out what's going on with her, I reach out and I snatch her by the wrist and spin her back towards me, and maybe put my right hand up to her face to try and steady it so I can get a good look. But as soon as I stare into her face and I feel the pulse pounding against my fingers on her wrist, there's just like a moment of confusion. At first, it's intent, deciphering, but then instantly melts into confusion. And my grip on her wrist goes slack. I just kind of let her go.
She backs away from you, trembling, and says, "I think you'd best be going before I call the guards."
Maybe that is for the best.
I know it's the Sallows, but they come out here, you know. They check on us. They care.
For the greater good, yes. I sort of I've heard that.
Bless her soul.
She watches you leave and then turns, and you can see her even from where you're standing as she stumbles. Just perilously close to falling over into the house and closes the door.
Come on, Ellie. Factor it in. I don't want to be out in this mess anymore.
Forgetful or not, I think she gave us a good hint. Now keep your wits about you. We're going back through Winterside.
All right, so you begin heading back through Winterside. It's the same complex nest of buildings as before, lots of row houses, small one-story houses, much better shape than the Sallows, but certainly not the opulence of Summerside, where the nobles live. But fair enough living for most folk. You stick to the wall street as instructed, moving through this sort of broad thoroughfare back toward the market. Your trip is largely uneventful until you get to this alleyway. Here, lantern light pools through, I keep using that word, I'm sorry, spills and splashes its way through this long alleyway leading toward what sounds or what looks like sort of verdant park on the other side of the buildings. You swear for a moment that something huge passes by the mouth of that alleyway, at least 9-10 feet tall, hulking, and it glances at you for an instant, and you see the gleam of two bright red eyes before it disappears again, almost so fast that maybe you wonder if you imagined it. Maybe you think how town is getting to you. How would you react to seeing something like that? Would you chase after it? Would you? What's your reaction to that?
I'm gonna go with dwarves are scared of giants. So yeah, I would be kind of freaked out, but like trying to keep my composure and like not mention it to anyone else, just in case it was just me.
Tail poof. Just full blown poof.
Stay silent and stoic as well.
What about you, Dante?
I mean, it's a huge thing. Might be scary, but I'm gonna stand my ground.
Fair enough. Regardless, it seems to have passed by the alleyway and moved on.
Maybe I'll tap my brother on the shoulder. and try and silently whisper as quiet as I could, like, "Did you see that? Did you get a load of that?"
Yeah, like switch to Dwarven. Like, I did. Too scared to. Don't know what the fuck that was. Should we say something?
Turn and look back at the cat, and the vampire, and maybe just try and catch the cat's. Oh, the cat's tail. Yeah, the cat's tail's moving.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So I'll turn back and I'll try and whisper to him in Dwarven. I'd have to say that probably did. Is this something you think we need to take a look into? There's been so much evil already. Can we continue to let it stand?
Did you say that we needed to take a look?
I asked if we needed to take a look. There's definitely something dark going on in this town. And I don't think Almighty Torag will be too keen on it. Nor your ruddy Trud.
Orston's kind of torn because part of me definitely agrees that, yeah, we gotta go, like, slay this evil or whatever that was, at least investigate it. And the other part is that I gotta go get the gold for the church, like, mission accomplished. But I do think, yeah, I would kind of let the better part of me and my brother convince me to, like, whisper to the others, like, how about we go look after that thing? You guys saw it, didn't you? To the cat and vampire.
Yeah, the thing was huge.
Oui, mon frère. Sumo sees the great demon in the sky.
You seem the sneakiest.
You look like you know how to handle yourself in the deep dark recesses of the house.
Oui, Sumo is very, very sneaky, sir.
How about we go take a look? You, like, lead the way and we'll be, like, a distance back, but following. You're a sneaky cat, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oui.
Let's comes my adoring fans. Let Sumo lead the way.
I love your character.
Out of character, Sumo is now convinced that you're not like party members. You're just like the first of many fans that Sumo is going to acquire.
Entourage. Oh, we're going to be the entourage before it's all said and done. You watch.
I'm pretty sneaky as well.
Okay, you two both want to sneak up there, and us clanky loud dwarves will hang out back here.
I mean, clanky is you're looking at it the wrong way. Not clanky. It's you're distracting in a good way. It's like if we need you to distracting something, you can just make noise.
I'm a good distraction, yes.
I need to fucking heal you. How about I stay back here? Unless you be ready to shed by whatever that may be.
I'm gonna go sneak up to where we saw the big thing cross the alley.
I'm going with Sumo.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to start moving toward the alley?
Yes.
Okay. You begin moving toward the alleyway, through the alleyway. This appears to be sort of a space between two sets of row houses. It's well lit. There are clotheslines and washing bins sort of lining the path. As you move through, how fast do you move? Do you run? Do you walk? Do you sneak?
I was gonna like walk to the corner where we saw the big thing, and then once we got to like that corner, then start sneaking.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing.
All right. If everybody could roll me a stealth check, please. And
Oh no, I'm not. I'm like we're back at the dwarven distance.
okay. If there you go, Sumo.
I'm currently calculating that I have a -2 to stealth, so
You sort of sneak out into the park area. It perhaps strikes you as strange that there's been so much complaint about blighted soil when there's obviously an example of verdant greenery right here. Soft grass, sort of. You walk on soft grass amid several large trees, and just or lively, healthy shrubberies. Littering the garden, and I'll get a proper map for this later. Littering the garden are not littering, but placed throughout the garden are statues. One statue, the nearest one to you, is of a man, a bald man, actually hairless. It doesn't seem to have any eyebrows or beard. Making a gesture, a sort of a conciliatory gesture, palms upward, looking up toward the sky. Now, mind you, this sculpture is rendered in what appears to be marble, but you get the impression of life. Like if you look closely enough, you could swear you see the cloth in this man's robe move. It doesn't, of course, but the sculpture is incredibly lifelike. Same for a woman standing nearby in full plate mail, axe leisurely draped over one shoulder. Another man standing nearby in the attire that you saw the guards wearing. These statues, you might surmise, are of city figures. And there doesn't seem to be any sign of the thing you saw. Surely something that large would have left footprints, but you can't see any. I picked the perfect music for this.
yeah, it's spooky. I'm spooked. Are the statue's eyes like following us?
No.
Shame Halloween is over.
So we don't see like the big shadowy figure, nothing out of the ordinary.
No. Just dim torchlight. Playing along the crevices and wrinkles in the clothing of these statues.
I feel like I need to make a will save to check myself from rolling around in the grass.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me a will save, DC 10.
Give me a catnip check. Nature.
You resist your feline urges. Barely.
All right. Nothing else is standing out to me that we should check out. Unless Dante has something.
No, statues are cool. I want to look at one of them.
Okay. You've got the man dressed as a guard, the man in the robe with his palms upward, and the woman in plate mail with an axe over her shoulder. Which do you want to look at?
I want to look at the guard.
The guard is he's got a sort of stoic expression on his face. Unlike the guards that were hoofing it to the sallows, you notice that this man is carrying a short sword and a spear, as well as a round shield worn on his back. In one hand is the spear, and the other hand is the short sword. There is the short cape that most guards wear. The visored, or not the visored, the sort of the open-faced helmet with a sort of low brow that obscures most of his eyes from immediate view. The statue stands about 8 feet tall and is again made out of marble. You can see the marbled pattern of gray and white and black in the rock that composes the sculpture.
These statues are really cool. I want to continue to the inn again.
Okay, y'all headed back to the inn, maybe.
Yeah, I guess we head back to the doors and just tell them we didn't really find anything. There's a big garden, statues, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Alright. I don't know what that could have been, but maybe we're all just tired. Back to the inn, I suppose.
Do you go back down the alleyway and continue along the Wall Street, or do you head through the park?
They would have had to come back down to this point of the alleyway to meet us.
Okay, cool. All right. So you move along the Wall Street back into that main thoroughfare leading from the eastern gate, the market gate. You head back down the street. From here, you can see the park in greater detail. You can see that there's something like 6 statues scattered throughout the park on this side. Move the map. Hang on. World shifting. On this side, that sort of larger green space. There's 6 statues throughout it, along with sort of a grouping of large trees, and even a small pond directly in the middle. But still no sign of whatever it was you saw earlier. You move back into the market square. It is, of course, quiet, lit by lanterns, but otherwise almost totally unoccupied. You do see a couple of guards shuffling around, checking stalls. They don't meet your eyes. They just sort of glance at you and then move on as you move your way back to the Sanguine River Inn. One second. I'm not boring y'all, am I? Y'all are quiet.
No, I'm calculating.
No, we're good.
I'm doing the story math.
I'm just enjoying it.
I got some theories. So yeah, the big thing to discuss. I mean, now we're back at the inn, and Chez is taking a break, just kind of out of character. But we came here to help kill this night guy or whatever, right? That the king reported like went AWOL or something. So we came here. We met with, I'm pretty sure he's the chancellor guy, to ask about that
that's what he said
bounty.
he was.
Yep.
And since then, we also kind of learned from that old lady that the chancellor, we think we're working for the king, but we learned through some conversations that the chancellor is doing a rebellion against the king. So he told us the situation changed with the night bounty we were coming here for, and we kind of did this to learn more. So we're going to learn more about that, but it certainly seems like we may not be working for who we think we are. This guy may not be an actual representative of the king anymore. Yeah, Chancellor Thornbeard. I'm pretty sure he's the chancellor. Maybe I missed an NPC there, but
Nope, that's what we
you're
were
right.
told.
okay.
And he had an eye patch. Very key information.
Yeah, he promised gold to kill those guys.
Yeah, but then he was going to tell us more about the knight we're here to kill, so
Yeah,
we should just pay close attention to him.
the Red Hand Bandit quest was like that. We needed to do that to like to earn his trust to get us the rest of the quest.
Well, and the money, but yeah. I'm broke.
I thought we got some money for a different quest.
I don't think so. This is quest 1.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different game.
Come back to the tavern. There's barely anybody down here. The barkeep, if you remember, his name is Varley Gaunt. Looks up as you come in and says, "Oi, you look like you've been through it. You all right?"
Yeah,
Bad
it's a
now.
long night.
What the hell happened?
Lots of things.
Now, hang on. You're not bringing trouble into my bar, are you? No one's following you?
No, of course not.
No. He gives you a look, narrows his eyes, says, "Right."
No, I think I'd feel kind of proud and boastful about what happened. I'd slap Orriston on the back as we sat down at the bar and said, "Don't be so modest, brother. Let him know we're ragged and run wrecked. Because we've wrecked some red hands."
You see Varley's eyes go wide for a second. Oh, you did it. You actually went and did it, didn't you? Huh.
I told you we're not a joke. Or maybe I didn't tell you. I meant to tell you. We're not a joke.
Looks like it was a right proper scrap, too. Did you? You didn't take any bribes or anything, did you?
Insultedly, respond. And they what?
You know, bribes. They didn't. No, I suppose not. Not looking like you did. Ugh. Cool. Hey, here's a bandage. Stop bleeding all over my floor.
We're not bleeding. I'm not bleeding. I healed everybody. I'm at like 29. I'm at 23 HP.
Oh, I'm sorry. Getting too into the flavor. He retconned that last part. He says, right, well, since you actually went and did it, I suppose Mr. Thornbeard will want to see you. Just a moment, I'll go fetch him. And Varley disappears up the stairs.
Fucking bribes. I fucking look like him.
Bergrim, shut your stupid hole. Didn't you hear with Red Hands? It wasn't just a barn full of bandits. It's a big organization.
It's a big organization of fucking vile, evil deers.
We gotta get the money for the church.
I want
Jump scare incoming.
Whee!
That's not scary.
Bear calls it a jump scare.
Bah!
Old Snake.
Yeah, old Snake. Yeah, he like
Uh.
reads. He like writes scrolls in his old age.
Welcome back to the Sanguine River Inn. I'm not making that his voice.
Aww.
He comes down the stairs, and you notice now that he's walking, he's got a limp. As a matter of fact, and I'm gonna have to fix this later because I'm supposed to be making these rolls in secret. Roll me a perception check, everybody.
I'm looking for it. There it is.
The cat is licking himself.
Bergram and Dante, you notice how stiff his left leg is, and you realize it's probably a prosthetic.
Is it? Oh, he has a boot on it. Probably doesn't.
Yep.
Is it thudding every time he steps?
It is.
Does-
There's a each time he makes a step with it.
Does his left leg sound heavier than his right leg?
Certainly, like there's just sort of a heavy thud each time he brings the foot down.
I could just kind of nudge Orison at the bar, nod down toward his left leg, and mutter to him in Dwarven. Well, he feels the favor that I went a little bit.
Ah, he's a tough looking fucker.
Levin sits down at his usual spot and waves you over. He says, "Over here, if you would." Yes.
Levin?
Is
Mr.
that his
Thorn-
first name?
Yep, Levin
Okay.
Thornbeard.
Did I nail that?
Yep. You should be able to see his name. Hang on.
It's just a big thing. Chaz, you can set the game-wide token defaults, and it'll fix that.
Yep. All right. You should be able to see the name on his token now.
Oh yeah.
Levi and Thornbeard.
He waves you over, and do you approach? Do you sit there? Do you make him get up and come to you? What do you do?
Yeah, let's go get paid.
Yeah.
I think we didn't bring any of this. Fuck. I retroactively cut off one of the bandits' hands with my warhammer.
No, you don't. Don't worry. I'm not that kind of DM. You're fine. Chancellor Thornbeard sort of leans back in his chair as you approach and says, "So, looks like you had a fight on your hands."
We killed your bandits. Whole barn of them. They had a farmer they were trying to get some money out of, and
I see. You saved the farmer?
of course we did. Who do you think we are?
Of course, he says, as though it's a matter of course, as though that is something that is expected. That's promising. I was looking out my window this evening when a little bird told me that a few guards rushed toward the Sallows just a while ago. They were carrying bags. Did you speak to one of the guards?
Aye.
after your tussle.
We had the unpleasantness of speaking to one of your, and I do my best to do air quotes in steel gauntlets, guards.
And
Apparently,
what did you think?
personally, I thought he made a lot of them sound like a bunch of ruddy cowards, cavorting with bandits, colluding with criminals.
It is a shameful arrangement, isn't it?
Shameful
Is-
situation.
Yeah, I would speak up and like, yeah, my inner paladinness is coming to the surface, and yeah, I just kind of want to like, kind of angrily demand of him, like, is that his doing the agreement? Is it between him and the bandits, or is it between the king and the bandits?
He raises one eyebrow.
That's all they can.
That's all he can raise. Yeah, fuck off. He raises one eyebrow and says, "Why would you assume that what the king is doing, what I'm doing, are different?"
We heard some things out there. Told us you were running a rebellion. This one Thornblood, or is this Thornblood? Summerblood. It was
You
the
met-
Summerblood that told us that, wasn't it?
You met a Summerblood.
It's the old crone
No,
that
it
told
was
us
an old
that, you
lady.
daft- Yeah. Pay attention, you daft bastard.
Sorry, no, I need you to back up a second. You met a Summerblood.
Oh, aye, yeah. Your amulet came in handy. That's greatly appreciated. Granted us safe passage through the city at this understandably difficult time, now that we have a better idea of the circumstances.
Oh, this moved faster than I expected. Huh.
Oh yeah, Orbreakers don't play, mate. You know, we did not take recess in grade school.
Yeah, just dive in there and roll around and shout and fight.
I see. Well, suppose it is time to discuss the particulars. First, because I am a man of my word, here you are. And he produces from his hip a large bag of gold pieces, which he sort of drops on the table in front of you. 75 gold pieces per person.
Oh,
Damn.
my jaw like hits the table.
It is a lot of gold.
Yeah, we only started with 15, so that's a lot.
He says, "So, are you interested in making more?"
Absolutely.
Giggity.
I was hoping you'd say that. Still, this job requires a certain amount of virtue that I think you certainly have displayed, but I want to tell you going in, this is dangerous work, friends. You'll be toppling a corrupted king. And digging yourselves into the complex politics of revolution.
Oh, shit. I don't know what the church would think of this.
If you'd seen what the king had become, you'd know what your church thinks of this.
Yeah, tell us more about this corruption.
It's a curse of some sort. The king's doing. I don't know why. I don't know the particulars of it. I don't know how. But he blighted the land and has done something to many of the people here. I haven't been able to deduce why we're not affected, some of us. But whatever magic the king has tapped into has given him control over the minds of almost every citizen in this city.
You say the king blighted this land?
Aye, Fane himself. Fallen to some temptation. He didn't give me time to ask questions.
Why then did we run into a particularly lush park dead in the center of the city, while all of the fields in the surrounding area were dead and shriveled?
There's part of me that wants to tell you I don't know. Because I don't, in truth, understand the specifics of it. I don't understand how this curse works. The other part of me wants to tell you that he's gloating. The only green in the city is in front of this crimson church, where he still resides.
I'm sorry, your king resides in the church?
I have to be careful to whom I speak. You're outsiders. I know you entered the city just recently. I know you came pretty much straight here, except for speaking with Larkspur and I believe the blacksmith. You came to speak with me. I know that if the king had you under his control, we wouldn't be talking now. I'd be dead. So I know I can trust you. To a degree. Or at least I think I can. My proposition is this. Help me uncover what happened to the king. Help me dismantle the summer blood. And help me get into that church and fix this. I'll see to it that you are paid a king's ransom.
How much are we talking about?
500 gold pieces per person. To start.
I'm totally in.
A little discomforted by the wording king's ransom.
Yeah, me too, yeah. Both of us are like sharing a look. And a gulp.
In the Night Giles, what might he have to do with any of this?
Let me give you what I know of events so far. King Fane had been has been a good ruler for much of his reign. He's been king for 2 decades now. But in the last 6 months or so, he turned from righteous and fair and kind to angry and vindictive and vengeful members of the court, members of the clergy were stricken from their positions, and then some of them disappeared. And that's when I started investigating what was happening. I walked into the throne room late one evening to confront the king directly. He did not move from his throne. He sat as though he were stricken to it, as though he could not move. And he told me to let it be. When I insisted as to knowing what was going on, he raised his hand, and I felt something burning, and then I couldn't see out of my right eye. I'm sorry, left eye.
I was gonna say that would,
I was
that
about
would
to
be
type
difficult.
it in.
I can see how that would be difficult. No offense.
I managed to flee. And using what contacts I had, managed to escape his detection. Things are not well in Redchapel. I fled Palace a month ago. The king hasn't been seen since, away from the Crimson Church, and no one can get in. The Summer Blood have been dragging people from their homes. The people have reported seeing strange creatures in the streets at night. This all ties back to King Fane. He has to be dealt with. And I need help to do it.
I'm certainly interested in where he mentioned the creatures in the streets at night,
Yeah.
and I'd like to ask, creatures. You say people are seeing abnormalities, abominations, manifestations, constructs. Explain to me.
It's rumors, mostly. People reporting to my people, my little band of resistance members here, that they're seeing large, loping creatures in the streets. Not doing anything, not killing anyone, not attacking, just moving among the houses.
There's not a lot of information. I want any descriptions, any hard facts about these creatures. You seem like a man who
I have my suspicions as to what they might be.
But you seem like a man who dwells more on in the intelligence world.
I do dwell in the intelligence world, and that should tell you then, Mr. Bergram, how elusive these creatures have been, if they are real at all.
But so I still fully believe that we saw this thing, right? And I understand that he's telling us that he doesn't know, but I feel like somehow deep down inside of me, I need anything human. So clawing, I still want to pry at it. Anything. You wouldn't be telling me about a figment of people's imaginations if you didn't think there was some kind of stock in it. Hard, fast details, Chancellor Thornbeard. That's what I need to do what is apparently going to be my job.
I think you met a Summerblood, yes?
Aye. We had the
What stood out to you about that person? Was it her size?
to me, the biggest thing that stood out is her devotedness. But what are you implying? Is that a short joke, Chancellor Thornbeard?
The Chancellor sort of blinks and says, "No, that's not what I mean. I think I believe the Summerblood had been affected by the same curse as the king. Maybe he spread it to them on purpose. Maybe it was a side effect. Whatever it is, I think those creatures are the Summerblood."
For what it's worth, when we were confronted by the Summerblood and we presented your amulet, she still allowed us safe passage. I don't know if the king holds total sway over the Summerblood or not.
I couldn't tell you. If I didn't, if the Summerblood had been beating down my door, the assumption would have been that they relied on you to lead them to me. But they are not beating down my door, which means I don't know what this woman was doing.
You've presented us a tall order this evening. Overthrow a king who's apparently blighted his own lands and holds selfish reign over his town, over a brainwashed populace from, and let me clarify this now, the confines of a church, not a palace?
Church. To Pelor, the god of the sun. The god of summer.
I would assume that is the dominant religion.
Aye.
In the well, have you heard of Bahamut?
What's that?
Wrong campaign.
Bahamut. Pat'll be happy you said that.
Chancellor Thornbeard, I thank you for your gold. And 500 gold pieces a man.
Amen.
I kind of look over at Orson. That's a lot of gold pieces. That's a lot of tithes, man. I don't want to say no. I don't want to say yes. I just want to sleep on it. And your feelings of not being able to trust us. Well, the hefty sacks of gold you just laid upon this table, 75 gold pieces per, tells me you haven't had much to trust beside us in a long time. So please, at least allow us the courtesy of a night's rest.
He gives you an unexpected, well, perhaps unexpected, grin. He says, I think I can manage that, yes. In the morning, I'll see to it that we have another member or two of the resistance with us, and you and I and them can discuss our next move. Should you, after sleeping on it, decide to help.
Hey, that's much appreciated. I just like to tie the sack of gold off on my belt and stand up from the table. A night's rest then. I'm drunk, and until 5 minutes ago I was broke. I don't know where that gold went. I could have sworn I came in here with 2 gold. But a night's rest. And we'll be back in the morning. Or we'll be here in the morning, at the very least. And if he doesn't say anything, then yeah, I would nod and turn and... We rented rooms, right? We must have, just I'm fucking dead broke.
Nope. You head up to your rooms.
As the party is leaving, I would like to ask Thornbeard if there's any possible way we could get any amount of gold in advance before we decide on the job.
He looks at you and says, we can talk about that in the morning. Depending on what you need for supplies and what the mission, what you decide in the morning, we can speak from there.
Okay, cool. I'll see you in the morning.
Certainly.
Now we're heading up to the rooms.
And the cat is still licking himself.
Yep.
How do you feel about all this gold, Sumo?
Anything to spread the fame of Sumo, I'm in. Gold is but a good side bonus.
That makes sense.
Yeah, pop my head back around the corner. And also we deserve more gold. Just for the presence of absolute celebrity Sumo. His appearances don't come free, you know.
Not yet.
And we're going to take about, well, it's approaching 9 o'clock. I say we can stop here. How late does everyone want to go?
It doesn't matter, really. How much you got prepped, to be honest, you think?
I've got enough prep for us to go for another hour or so.
I'm good with another hour or so.
Okay.
I'm good
What
for
about
an
you,
hour.
Jay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Then let's take a break, 10-minute break, and we'll get back to it in just a few minutes. I do want to do the role playing thing. I always do this for the first rest each of my games, and talk about daily preparations. What do those look like for your character? We'll start with Bergrim. What does he do when he gets up, and what do his preparations look like?
So he wakes up first thing in the morning and rolls out of bed bright and early. In spite of the night he had, actually, regardless of what he might have told the farmer the night before, he actually finds himself up at the crack of dawn as he does every morning. in his satchel, he reaches in and pulls out a holy effigy to Torag, folded up in a light linen, like super fine, super clean linen cloth. Pops it up on the nightstand or whatever near a surface table of some kind, and sits down, kneels down, and does his daily prayers.
Okay. What does he pray about? Does he pray about anything particular? Does he pray for anything particular?
I mean, selfishly, he prays for the final outcome of Torag being the one true God, as opposed to his brother's god Trud. That is his ultimate. That's what he would love to ultimately live to see. But besides that, he prays for the normal dwarven things, family, or clan rather, and a good bountiful haul from the mines.
Okay. Uh, Orston, what about you?
Yeah, the camera like pans back out of his window and over to my window and into my room, and I'm like doing the same thing. I'm like talking shit about him and his god at the same time he is to me. But my morning preparations, I'm a buff little dude, and so I start doing some push-ups and some just basic stretches and stuff in the morning. I got my warhammer. It's covered with like bear carvings because that's like the animal god of Trud. And yeah, I do a little prayer, mostly about giving me bravery and strength for the coming day, and for what might lay ahead with all this king nonsense. And yeah, definitely about how my brother's god sucks and is a false god. And then I start putting on my armor. I guess it's tons of armor. It's lots of little pleats. And then I'm ready to go.
Armor's up before breakfast. That's powerful. That's a power move. Sumo, what about you? What do your morning preparations look like? And please don't go into detail about licking your own butt.
Okay. Well, there is going to be licking, but didn't plan on going into detail.
Okay.
So yeah, you got to start off with the usual, the big long cat stretch with a big yawn, and then immediately finds the nearest place to sunbathe if possible. So like once we cuddle up near like an open or like a window with some sunlight, then it's bath time. Good like 5-10 minute lick, get some bath time in, and then Sumo would go and do some form of circus training, because he doesn't want to lose any of his talents. So he's got to stay fresh. So whether that be like, I don't know, something to balance on, to find for like tight roping or any other kind of like gymnast circus, anything in that realm that he can do just to stay fresh.
Okay. All right. And no, Bear, a cat player has not hurt me before, but I know and love Jay, and I know, given the first opportunity, what Jay would go for. So
I'll put it in the homebrew. Absolutely no depictions of licking your own asshole.
I'm kidding, Jay.
Yeah, you're good.
And then Dante, what's your morning preparations look like?
Well, every morning I start by washing any blood off of my face and armor, and then sharpening my weapons.
Okay. All right. And with morning preparations complete, you begin heading downstairs to the smell of roasting vegetables. It sounds like it smells like somewhere someone got some eggs and maybe some bacon. And you find that breakfast has been laid out for you when you get downstairs. In addition to Mr. Thornbeard, there's a new person at Mr. Thornbeard's table. I'm sorry, there is most definitely bacon. It's not Schrodinger's bacon, it's just bacon.
You got me. Predicted.
Read you like a book. No, I'm kidding. I had no idea you were going to say that. we just same brained it. So there's another person at the table. I don't know why I added a turn for her. That's not what I wanted to do.
Oh, wait, yes.
Are we having a breakfast battle? That sounds awesome. Roll initiative for breakfast battle.
Food wars.
God, no. We'd get kicked off of YouTube.
I know.
There is a woman at the table with Mr. Thornbeard who is dressed in a long coat and appears to be carrying an assortment of weaponry. And she sort of looks up at you as you approach and says, "It's them." Thornbeard says, "Aye, it's our team, I think. Depends. Did you sleep on it, Mr. Bergram?"
And prayed.
"And what did your god say?"
He said that there seems to be much corruption in your lovely city of Redchapel. And maybe he's not entirely sure. But you certainly seem to be on the good end of it. For now, we'll cooperate with you.
Excellent. I certainly appreciate the vote of confidence. I shall endeavor not to disappoint you.
My only interest is in the good of the people. And I'm sure my companions, they probably share that sentiment.
I'm really in it for the gold, but I really don't like the corruption with the stupid king.
The woman at the table has taken a particular interest in Dante. She's sort of studying him. And then she looks at Thornbeard and says, "I thought we said no vampires." Thornbeard says, "Needs must, child." She glares at him at the use of the word child, and then back at Dante and says, "I'm watching you."
I just happen to be here.
He's only half.
Are
She narrow-
vampires? I'm sorry, go ahead.
She narrows her eyes and then leans back in her chair. "What's up?"
Are vampires common in Pathfinder 2e world, if we're even in that, or in your homebrew world?
They are not necessarily common, but they're also not so rare that people are shocked to find them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we learned in the last session that there were a couple kind of like noble ones that the guards told us about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the upper crust. But like, why would the upper crust be here at an inn in the market? Like, why would she be worried about vampires here? That would mean there's probably more than what we learned about before.
She's not saying that she's worried about vampires here. She's worried about vampires working with the resistance.
Okay, 10-4.
And I apologize that that was confusing. I do better storytelling when I'm not running on a mixture of energy drink and spite.
Spite powerful, harness that.
Harness your hatred. Let it flow through you. So the lady, the woman says, "My name is Mistra. Nice to meet you." "Even you," she says to the vampire.
Name's Dante. Nice to meet you.
And Levin says, "If you'll have a seat."
Hey, pull out a stool and slap down.
No, I've been eating already. I've been sat down a long time.
Now, I'm glad to hear you're on board. With that, we'll get to it. We're going to continue striking against the Red Hands. Currently, they present a thorn in my side, trying to operate a resistance. They're working with the Summer Blood, to my understanding, and it makes it impossible for me to operate in areas outside of the city. Yes, Dante, a thorn in my beard. Thank you. I never heard that before, and I never shall hear it again, I'm certain. He coughs and says, "Anyway, so what I'd like to, just a second. Okay. So he says, so, I've got it on good authority that the Red Hands have moved where they're not supposed to be into a warehouse near the docks. I want you to go clear them out."
We heard of this from an old crone last night near the in the Sallows. Could you give us an address? When we questioned her about a specific location, she turned kind of distant and off. She was very forthcoming at the beginning, but upon further questioning, completely dissolved into a mindless blob of nothing, not remembering our past encounter, and sheepishly striding off into her own home.
Sounds like brainwashing. Perhaps the king got to her. You'll want to head to Dock 13. There's a warehouse right next to it. There's actually a collection of warehouses. I'd like you to investigate them. Mistra here is going to work with the captain of the guard, Baron, to ensure that you're not disturbed in handling this. You represent a wild card. We can't be necessarily held responsible for your actions as long as no one knows we ordered them, which means Garthrum would be violating the arrangement if he were to attack us. Do you follow?
Aye.
You represent a weapon that we can actually wield, and a chance for us to begin taking the city back. In the time since the king's fall, the summer blood and the red hands have choked the life out of this place. These people deserve better than that, don't you think?
The
One
miserable,
hand round their throat and the other in their pocket.
the miserable gentleman we met last night, he was certainly a heartbreaker. You haven't seen him come around this way all morning, have you?
No, I
A
have not.
farmer.
No, there's been no one.
That's too bad.
You may be
I- I-
wondering how I'm able to operate out of the Sanguine River without someone coming by and, say, checking for me.
That certainly is.
Well, that would be Mistra here. And Mistra coughs and produces a holy symbol from her pocket. I dabble, she says. One sanctuary spell seems to have been holding them off rather well. But don't lead them back here. I don't want to test it. Yes? If a summer blood comes upon you, you need to make sure they're not following you before you return.
That shouldn't be a problem. I think we can handle him.
Yes. Let's certainly hope so. Well, finish your breakfast and then to it.
Straight off. Right off to Dock 13. The old crone mentioned that, I believe, she said, in the middle of the night they were transporting bodies. Is there a specific time we should go? Or just pop right off as soon as we're done chowing down?
You'll want to get there as soon as possible. Baron can only keep the guards away for so long before the Red Hands start to get suspicious that they haven't seen any.
Before we go, I would like to ask the Chancellor about if there's any way we can get any payment in advance for equipment.
Roll me a persuasion check. Or a diplomacy check. I'm sorry, it's diplomacy and 2E. He shakes his head and says, my funds are stretched thin as it is until we access the treasury in the castle. I'm sorry, in the church.
That's all right.
I can't risk putting them all in one place. The 75 gold per person should see to it that you are well equipped, as best we can manage for the time being. Once you accomplish this mission, mayhap you should speak with me further. I believe we can discuss further payment then. Yes?
Okay, that's agreeable.
All right. And we'll stop there.